Hey friends, welcome back to the Bald Booktuber. Today is January 4th. That means it's day 4 of the 31 videos and 31 days project. And today we're going to start catching up on some of the tag videos that I have been tagged in. This was tagged by the wonderful Madison from Madison Goodyear, friend of mine. And it is the Postscript Book Tag. So it'll be some questions about kind of wrapping up the 2022 year. So it's a good time to do that. So let's get going. So the first prompt is, what was the longest book in the book that took you the longest in the year of 2022? And they can be different answers, obviously. But in my case, it's the same answer. And it is The Lonesome Crown by Brian Lee Durfee, book 3 of the 5 Warrior Angels. This is a big boy. It's almost 1,100 pages. It was just narrowed out Wizard and Glass for the largest book in terms of page count in the year. And it took me the full month of December, along with a couple of days in November, so it took me a while. Not a case of enjoyment. I obviously enjoyed it very, very much. It just happens that it happened to be while I was also rereading Live Ship Traders, which is one of my favorite trilogies. So I was reading this alongside that, and it's hard for any author to split time with Robin Hobb. So that's what happened there. So it took me a while, but I did wrap it up the day before New Year's Eve. So fantastic. Definitely check out Brian's series. It is excellent and one of a kind. All right, the second prompt is a book that took me out of my comfort zone this year. And this is going to be Verity by Colleen Hoover. It was kind of a romantic thriller. I liked it fine. And it was part of a TBR swap that we had. She read Lies of Locke Lamora by Scott Lynch, one of my favorite books. I read this, one of her favorite books, and I enjoyed the experience of reading it. I did it on audio over the course of a couple of days. Quick read. Ultimately, I don't think she is the author for me, and I don't think that genre is the genre for me. But I'm happy that I tested it out and checked it out to see. It was definitely worth reading. No regrets. But ultimately, I don't think I'm going to be picking up too many of her other titles. All right, the third prompt is, how many books did you reread during the year? And this is a lot more than I've done recently in terms of rereads. And I've obviously got a lot of rereads on the slate for 2023. But I was looking, and out of the 93 books that I completed and read, 26 of them were rereads, which is a lot more than I would typically want to see. But when I thought back through it, I read 2 completed trilogies by Hobb. That's 6 books there. I read 3 titles from Sir Arthur Conan Doyle with the Sherlock stuff. I read the first 2 5 Warrior Angels, rereading them in to prepare for Lonesome Crown. I reread 4 Sun Eater books to prepare for Ashes of Man. And in the case of Kingdoms of Death, I both read it and reread it this year. I read it twice this year. So a lot of rereads, along with just some miscellaneous stuff like some sci-fi, like the Lost Fleet series. 6 of those were rereads. So it just was a reread heavy year, which is perfectly fine. I love to reread, but I'll probably want to change that balance just a little bit so that a quarter of the books I'm reading aren't reruns. So we'll see how that goes. All right, the next prompt is, what was your favorite reread of the year? And that's pretty simple. That is book 3 of Sun Eater, Demon in White. This was one of my favorite books, obviously, in 2021. It's part of one of my favorite ongoing series. Demon in White is as close to a perfect book as one can get. For many Sun Eater fans, it is their favorite of the series so far. I think Kingdoms of Death edges it out just a little bit for me, but I think that has more to do with the type of stuff I like in my books than anything else. I think objectively, Demon in White is probably a better book, but subjectively, I just like the stuff in Kingdoms of Death. I like books that hurt me. I don't know why. Our next prompt is going to be the book you are most looking forward to rereading, and this is going to be Wizard and Glass, book 4 of The Dark Tower, and really just The Dark Tower in general is what I'm looking forward to rereading, but Wizard and Glass was by far my favorite book in the series. So it feels like the type of series where you can get a lot more out of it each time you reread it. Also, I will probably have read more King books. I will certainly have read more King books by then, so there'll be more multiverse connections that I'll be able to make. This is a fantastic series. Any buddy that is a fan of Stephen King and or the fantasy genre, as well as just about any other kind of genre you could think of, it has science fiction, it has Western, it has adventure, it has action, it has romance, it has whatever you want. So check it out. But yeah, that's the one I'm most looking forward to rereading in. I'll probably space it out a little bit, but maybe in a few years' time I'll be ready to revisit the tower. All right, the next prompt, the 6th prompt, is what was a short story or novella that you loved this year that was a favorite? And that, again, is very easy. That is Robin Hobb's The Willful Princess and The Piebald Prince. I've talked about it a little bit on the channel in terms of some of my favorite reads of the year, so I won't belabor the point. I'll just say people need to be reading Realm of the Elderlings. All right, the next prompt is, what is a book with mass appeal that you would feel comfortable recommending to most people? And I sort of missed the boat on this one during my live stream. My sister was asking for a book recommendation, and this is what I should have chosen. And it's A Man Called Uva by Fredrik Backman. It is a translated title from Swedish. The author is from Sweden. And it is simply the character story of an old widowed man that has decided to kind of check out from life, and sort of his journey of rediscovering himself through others and finding meaning in his life. And it's very, very good. One of my favorite reads of the year. One of my favorite reads ever, really. And I'm very much looking forward to the Tom Hanks adaptation, A Man Called Otto, that comes out here in a little bit more than a week. All right, for the next prompt, we have a book with specialized appeal. And this is a book that you would recommend only to individuals that you knew their taste would match this book, basically. And for me, that's going to be The Terminal List by Jack Carr. So I've talked, again, a little bit about Jack Carr on the channel. He is a retired Navy SEAL, and he has penned what will be, I don't know how many books, but his 6th book is coming out this year. I'm very excited, in May. And the main character is kind of a SEAL as well, and kind of his adventures. And Jack himself said in a recent kind of note to the reader, I guess, at the beginning of, I think it was book 5, might have been book 4. Basically, for anyone thinking of picking up the book, they should kind of decide for themselves if they really want to do that or not. And if they are the type of person that is offended or upset about a protagonist who will defend his family and his property and himself using violence, then it's probably not the book for them. Which, I kind of like when an author is very upfront about that kind of thing. Jack Carr is an awesome dude. I've met him, but I would not want to cross him. I'll just say it that way. It would be a scary situation. So, I am not a violent person myself, but I do like violence in my media for whatever reason. I grew up watching 80s action flicks with my dad. I've always liked that medium, and I like it in my books as well. So if you're into that kind of a thriller, military thriller, then this is going to be the book in the series for you. All right, the ninth prompt here is reflect on your year as a content creator. And this was my first year on BookTube, obviously, in 2022. I had always just sort of assumed I would be a spectator and not myself in front of the camera, but I got a wild hair last January to do that, and I'm happy I did. I've built a wonderful kind of smallish community so far of 650 lovely people that for whatever reason like to know what I think about books. So that's awesome. I've gotten people reading Robin Hobb. I've gotten people reading Christopher Rocchio, Robert McCammon, and others. So that is always very cool. And I look forward to hopefully a better year here in 2023. I'm obviously starting off with this insane project to do a video a day. So I'm hopeful that I can continue to grow the community and to have fun in the process. The moment it stops being fun, I'll probably stop doing it. But so far it's been fun, and I will continue to do that for as long as that is the case. And our final prompt, as it always is to tag some others. So I will be tagging my pals Jack over Jack in the Book Stack. I'd love to hear her answers to this. I'll be tagging RJ over at RJ Reads. And I'll be tagging my friend Joanna Souza. So I hope that we get answers from the three of you. I'd love to see what you have to say on these tag questions. But hope you've enjoyed it. Until next time, publication order always, my friends.